In every discussion about global wealth, we hear the same names and the same stories: fortune, innovation, opportunity. But behind these narratives lies a silent structure, a network engineered far from public eyes, one built not to display wealth, but to conceal control. This is the billionaire blueprint you were never meant to see. For decades, governments, markets, and entire industries have shifted in response to forces that rarely appear in public records. Not companies, not individuals, structures. The question isn't how billionaires make money. The question is, how do they build power that cannot be traced? And why was the real architecture hidden? The public believes wealth grows through business success. But investigators who examined private financial archives noticed something unusual. The richest individuals in the world rarely own anything directly. Properties, corporations, patents, vessels, land, all are controlled through layers of structures designed to create distance. Distance from oversight, distance from liability, distance from consequence. The deeper investigators looked, the more the same pattern appeared: entities connected by invisible threads, executing decisions that no single person seemed responsible for. Why would someone with immense resources work so hard to become invisible? Unless invisibility is the power itself. During multiple financial crises, millions of public records vanished: ownership files, offshore transfers, sealed agreements. Some were destroyed in accidents, others disappeared during system migrations. Many were classified due to national security. But the effect was the same. Entire trails of wealth became untraceable. Billions moved off balance sheets. Assets changed hands without public record. For ordinary people, a missing document means trouble. For the elite, a missing document means freedom. When investigators finally obtained access to redacted blueprints of corporate structures, they noticed something strange. Shell companies were formed before major market events. Land parcels were acquired before infrastructure announcements. Strategic positions were taken before global crises. The timing was not coincidence. It was anticipation. The elite were not reacting to the world, they were positioning themselves for shifts that had not yet happened, or shifts they knew were coming. Whenever suspicion grows, the public is encouraged to focus on individuals: a CEO, a tech mogul, a billionaire with a famous name. But these figures are distractions, faces placed in front of structures, stories placed in front of systems. Because if the public blames people, they will never look at the architecture behind them, the real seat of power, the real mechanism of control. And that mechanism never appears on camera. Financial historians, investigative journalists, and regulators all documented parts of the blueprint, but their findings never align perfectly. Not because they were lying, but because each one only saw fragments. Some reported offshore labyrinths. Others uncovered private intelligence networks. Others found political influence pipelines. But together they form a shape, a structure so large and so distributed that no single narrative could describe it. The most telling clue: the missing pieces, pages redacted, files sealed, entire chapters erased from public archives. What kind of system requires this level of protection? Attempts to fully map the billionaire blueprint have been quietly shut down for decades. Permits denied, licenses revoked, sources silenced, data confiscated under emergency orders. Investigations were discouraged not with threats, but with bureaucracy. delays, restrictions, classification. A system does not hide this aggressively unless exposure threatens its existence. Why build such a silent architecture? Why operate through invisible networks? Why conceal ownership so deeply that even governments struggle to recognize control? Because the blueprint grants the elite leverage without accountability, influence without visibility, ownership without exposure, protection against crises, the ability to shape markets quietly, the power to move wealth beyond borders, and a system where control exists without a name attached to it. This is not about getting richer. It is about designing a world where power never has to answer questions. Is the billionaire blueprint a financial strategy or a global operating system? A method of wealth or a method of control? A structure built for opportunity or a structure built to reshape the world in ways the public was never meant to understand? The blueprint wasn't written on paper. It was built in silence, and the silence is the message. If you're ready to explore what lies behind the next layer of global power, subscribe to the hidden CODEX and tell us what you believe is the real engine behind elite control.